Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shooting Show, and welcome to today's program. We have a great show for you. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to demonstrate some things that I think are very important. And you know, I've had a number of calls over the past couple of weeks about what is going on in Washington. Certainly we've commented on the radio on our programs here. The things that the senators are trying to do, I think, are pretty well indicated by one Dianne Feinstein. And she at least had the nerve to come out and say what they want to do, the liberal socialists, of which she is one. They want to register every firearm in the United States. And this is what they want to do. Now, friends, there's only one reason to register every firearm in the United States. That's so that the powers that be in government will know where they are, if and when, more likely when, they decide they're going to come pick them up from us as civilians. Now, that's the way it is. You know, I'm very disappointed in the Senate. We used to sort of look up to them, but since they refused to convict a lying president, maybe the most corrupt administration in our country's history, they absolutely refused. And I figure it's caused blackmail. The Clintonians and the secret police that they have probably had enough blackmail on enough senators that they threatened them, said, look, you vote to convict and we're going to bring you down too. And unfortunately, with politics the way it is, certainly in our modern times, politics has always been dirty, but now especially, where you have so much money, you have so much drug money, you have so many people that literally have been bought off. The breakdown of the moral fiber, not only in our population, but in our government leaders. Now that's where we are. But you know, we still have some hope left. We have hope left in the House of Representatives, because they are somewhat more sensitive, realize that their terms are only 2 years. And they're much more in touch with their constituents than are the senators. A lot of the senators think, well, wait a minute, you know, I'll vote this, and before 6 years is up, people will have forgotten about it. And unfortunately, that's true in many cases. So you know what we can do? We can concentrate on calling our representatives in the House. Because, you know, they did impeach Bill Clinton. I mean, we've still got some good people in the House. There are a few good people in the Senate. And let me mention our friend Bob Smith, who is trying so hard in his presidential bid. And you know, the major media is ignoring him. They treat Senator Smith like he doesn't exist, because they realize if there was a lot of public support, a groundswell of support for Bob Smith, oh my, the liberal socialists would be thrown out of Washington, D.C. If Bob Smith could be fortunate enough to become president of the United States, the United Nations would be moved out of the United States, and hopefully we would disenfranchise the United States from the United Nations. So right now they're ignoring Senator Smith. He's a good man. He's on our side, but unfortunately there aren't that many senators. We don't understand what happened to the Larry Craig, the senator from Idaho, who's going along with this silly gun control, and it is silly. What they're proposing will have no effect on crime at all. The only effects it will have will be on us as citizens. You know, the Clintonians, they use every possible instance, anything that goes wrong, to try and more restrict our gun rights. Because, friends, let me tell you what, these firearms in the hands of ordinary citizens like you and I, this scares the liberal socialists to death, because they know that they can never completely rule over us. They can never have their dictatorship. They can never have their police state as long as you and I, the citizens, are armed. They know it. Some of us know it. What we've got to do is reach more people all over this country. And remember, friends, my goodness, it doesn't take 70% of the population to be active. It doesn't take 50% of the population. Remember, and I can prove this historically, it only takes 5% that is dedicated. You know what? 5% is a doable number. We can reach 5% of the general population if we can just get them motivated and take a stand and say, look, no more gun control. In fact, we'd like some of our freedoms back that have been taken away from us. Now, friends, this is doable. That's why we're trying so hard. That's why we have tried so hard to stay on the air with the shooting show. That's why some of you out there have helped support us and have joined in this fight, but we've got to have more people. That's what this little network is about. And maybe if we can succeed in staying on, maybe it won't always be a little network. Maybe we could become a major force for the Constitution, for our rights as individuals, and yes, as a voice that will help us retain our gun rights. Now, friends, it's time to put up or shut up. It is time. None of us know how much time we have left. And I'm asking you, and we're not talking to thousands of people in one place, and we're talking to individuals at home. I'm asking you, will you please join in this fight? You know the solution for our problem as far as getting our broadcasting out to more and more people? See, right now we're on the big dish and we're on some cable companies and some TV stations. But you know the secret? You know how we do it? We can buy broadcast time. We can buy it. It's for sale. Right now we're not being restricted about putting our information about shooting and gun ownership and freedom on television if we can pay the tab, if we can just buy the time. A lot of people now are getting the little dish. You know what? Some of the little dish owners have told us that they'll sell us the time if we just get the money. Simple thing. Remember, friends, freedom is not free. The ultimate price has been paid over and over by different Americans in and out of uniform that gave their very lives for what our country is about, for who we as individuals are about, for the foundation, the founding ideas, the founding principles of this country. And so many of us today say, well, you know, somebody else will pay. No, somebody else won't pay for it. That's why it's been such a struggle for us. We can't count on the industry. We can't count on organizations like the NRA. They're not going to help us. They're flatly not. I can't give you the reasons why. I don't, you know, we can suppose all we want to about that. I can't help what they're not doing. All I can do is try and reach more of you and say, will you please join us in this fight? I've got a book for you to go down and check out at your library. It's called Hollywood versus America, Popular Culture and the War on Traditional Values. It's by Michael Medved, and you can get it at your library. That's where I got this one, and it will tell you what the media, and see, it's not just me saying this, it's not just a few other people. Here is an authority on the media, on movies, on TV, Michael Medved. Sometimes you'll hear him subbing for Rush Limbaugh on his program. He's a very sharp person. But he talks about just what the media is trying to do and has been doing to our society. It's great reading. I highly recommend it. Hollywood versus America, Popular Culture and the War on Traditional Values by Michael Medved. I certainly recommend you go down and pick that book up and read it, because it documents case after case after case where we're being brainwashed as a people. You know, nobody has a lower production budget than we do, but you know what? When our shooting show has been placed in prime time against the major network programs, we typically will beat our competition in the ground. Now that's the way it's been, and our audience is so loyal, and people are so hungry for the truth, so hungry for the truth about guns, about shooting, about freedom in America. And we know that if this little network can survive, we know that we can make an impact on the future of the United States. And I say we, I'm talking about you and I. So many people feel helpless. They feel like they can't do anything. Yes, you can. You can supply those of us here on the front line. You can supply us with ammunition, and that ammunition is in the form of dollars. Look what the broadcast industry, they got these millions, even billions of dollars to try and brainwash the public. You know what, friends? The truth always wins if it's fairly presented. They've got the government behind them, but you know, here we are, and we've got millions of Americans who agree with us. And if we just present the facts to them, more are going to agree with us, and some of them are going to get active, and some of them are going to help us make a difference. If you can, please donate any amount, and I'm talking $5 to $5,000, if you can donate any amount to this project, please help us stay on the air. If you want to join our Gun Owner Rights Association, you can do that for $50 a year. We're working on the latest newsletter, so don't right now we're working on postage, send it out. But you know what? We're going to send it. It's an important organization. We're about to establish a new shooting discipline. A lot of things we're doing, and you can see where your dollars go, because you know what? By joining our GRA, Gun Owner Rights, we're here today. We're here today partly because of the support that we've gotten from our Gun Owner Rights Association. Now friends, this is no joke. It's time either to put up or shut up. You know what? You're living in a house. Nobody gave you that house. Nobody did. You had to earn it. You had to pay for it. Somebody had to write a check. Somebody had to make those monthly payments, the monthly mortgage notes. If you're driving an automobile, nobody gave you that car. Nobody said, well, you know, you're free to drive. You're free to go somewhere. You're free to go downtown, wherever, go to the mall. You're free to drive. But you know what? Excuse me. Nobody gave you that automobile or that pickup truck. You had to pay for it. Well, just like here in the United States, we're free. Somebody had to make the installments. Somebody had to pay for it. Many times it's been someone losing their blood and their life on a battlefield. But you know what, friends? It doesn't have to be that way. You can sit from the comfort of your own home. You can write a check, but somebody's got to pay for it. Somebody has to pay. It takes work. It takes effort. There's a price on freedom. Now, if your freedom is not worth enough to you to get involved, well, maybe those of us that it's not worth enough to fight for it, maybe we shouldn't have it. But those of us that don't mind getting involved and joining this fight, doing whatever, some of you can't afford to say anything, okay, well, tell somebody about what we're doing. You can still help. But if you can afford to, you know, like the old Purelator commercial used to be, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. It's going to be a lot more and a lot nastier later. And friends, that's where we are today. This gift of freedom we have was bought and paid for. Our founding fathers literally fought the British. They threw out the British royalty influence on the United States. And you know what? This is one of the most dollar-efficient ways that you can help in this fight for freedom. We do our TV project cheaper than anybody I've ever heard of. If you can help us, please do. If your freedom is worth enough to you to get in this fight. See, I don't know if we'll win, but you know what? I know we'll lose. If we just lay down, roll over, and surrender, I know we'll lose. Senator Hatch said this past week, said, well, gun control is evolutionary. Why, you know, is the First Amendment evolutionary? Well, freedom of speech on some days. No. Is the Second Amendment just apply to a few designated elitists from the government? No. It was meant to apply to the citizens, not subjects, of the United States. Will you help us? Will you please help us? You can send whatever you can afford to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dublin, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Our phone number 318-377-5189. We have a great show for you today, friends. We thank you for joining us. We're here today because a few people cared enough. And certainly our kits, remember our kit, our 460 rolling cartridge. Hopefully we'll have some magazine articles coming out in the not too distant future, but the cartridge is taking off. We're not generating enough sales to keep us on the air at this time, but it helps. Every one of these kits we sell, remember they're $275 plus $5 shipping for the blue guns or for the stainless guns. Certainly our carbines are on order. They're back ordered somewhat on that because all the companies making AR-15 type guns are literally inundated with orders. People are worried about Y2K, and I'm not that worried about Y2K myself, except this would be a marvelous opportunity for the powers that be to create a chaotic situation, to manufacture an emergency. So hey, if Bill Clinton can declare an emergency, whether we have one or not, if he can declare one, hey, he could cancel the elections. And we know we've already got troops here training to disarm to disarm citizens. They're training to do it. So if he declared an emergency, hey, he could say, let's go pick up the firearms. There may be trouble out there. So none of us knows, friends. You want to get in this fight or not? You can make a difference. Remember the old poster said, Uncle Sam wants you. Remember that? Where they wanted people to join the military to go fight World War II. Uncle Sam wants you. Well, listen, Uncle Sam is fighting for his survival. Uncle Sam has been confined to a nursing home somewhere under 24-hour lock and key by some of these liberal socialists. Uncle Sam needs you and I now more than Uncle Sam has ever needed our help, if we're going to continue being the United States of America and not the federal colonies of the United Nations. You want in? We need you. We need you. Some of us are not going to quit. Some of us are not going to give up. Some of us are not going to give in. Will you please join us? Will you please? Well, let's get to our program. We're going to be looking at an Argentine colt here in just a few minutes, but I certainly want to demonstrate. We're going to do a brief demonstration here in a moment, but let me tell you, our Fun Gun Weekend is coming up on June 5th and 6th at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana. We'll have some great demonstrations. We're going to have our first matches for our GRA action shooting. We're going to have a great time, great fellowship. Right now, we're looking to have a crawfish boil that Saturday afternoon. And probably what we're going to do, we're actually going to start the exercises, start the demonstrations. Right now, it looks like around 1:30 or 2 o'clock on Saturday. This will let people from out of town, you can come in the night before and get a good night's rest. And we'll be out at Clark's that morning. We'll be setting up stuff and be happy to visit with as many people as possible. Bob Server's going to be down with the Dan Wesson group, and we're going to be let people shoot their guns and have some great fun. And so right now it looks like we're going to start the official program about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because that way it'll put us in good shape for the crawfish boil later that afternoon, and certainly the talks we're going to have. So friends, we invite you to join us on June 5th and 6th. On Sunday, it'll start earlier, of course, probably 9 or 10 o'clock in Sunday morning. But on Saturday, we think that would be a great time, because we could everybody get together and talk about and enjoy doing these great things. We're going to have a lot of fun, so we invite you to join us. You won't have to be in a rush to get there. You can have lunch, or you can be out there with us in the morning on Saturday. You can have lunch and come back, whatever you want to do. But right now, that looks like how we're going to run the program. Okay, I've said a number of times, and let's just take our Argentine colt here. And we've said in comparison what our 460 is to the 45. Well, let's briefly do that right now. Now, friends, here's the standard 45 ACP load that's been used for many, many years in civilian life as well as police duty, certainly in the military. Water bottle on your right. Let's see what it does. And puts a little hole in it. Okay? And the water runs out. All right? The 45 ACP in reality is a medium power cartridge. All right? Let's try our 460. Water bottle on your left here. Same basic style gun. Our kit installed. I don't mind getting a little wet for the demonstration, but it is not the same thing.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is. This is the great Georgia Arms 45 DA Colt or double action Colt cartridge. This is the first major improvement on the Colt 45 since 1873. They have this in loaded cowboy ammunition. They're also selling brass, so you can load your own combinations. This cartridge case is absolutely a joy to work with. We're even seeing improved accuracy, we think due to the slightly larger rim on our 45 DA Colt case. You can get a free catalog, or you can order these from Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861 for their entire lineup, and please tell them you saw it here on our show. Now, friends, of course, the cowboy load is mild but super accurate. And of course, you can take your hand loads up to the limit of what the loading manuals will allow. The great 45 double action Colt cartridge from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, friends. A free phone call with a free catalog.
And of course, realize that Georgia Arms has the best lineup of handgun and rifle ammunition in the United States at certainly the best prices I've ever heard of. They are shipping 460 Rowland ammo daily. They have a good supply in stock now. In fact, just Nostler is sending a whole bunch of new bullets for the hottest load there, the 185 at 1,550 feet per second. So give them a call today, friends. I would not put it off. I'd try and put some ammo back if I possibly could for your 223 or 9mm or 45 or 357, whatever. And of course, our great 460 Rowland. 1-800-624-6861, and please remember, tell them you saw it on our show.
Now then, friends, what we're looking at is essentially the Edgercito, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Argentino. This is a Sistema Colt caliber 11.25 millimeter. Essentially, this is a gun, as I understand it, was manufactured in Argentina for their military under license from Colt, and it looks like it's the very same system. I think that most of these parts, if not all of them, will interchange with the government model 1911. You'll notice it has a lanyard ring here, and a string or cord was put through this to keep it on someone's wrist or to the holster in case the gun was somehow dropped or lost, or certainly at night if someone was on guard duty or happened to drop the gun, or maybe someone was asleep, you could have the cord tied to them. It was something you couldn't really lose the handgun, so this was your defensive line here. That's what that little lanyard ring is for. That's to literally tie the gun down to yourself or to some other, maybe a saddle in the case of cavalry, who the heck knows. But anyway, you'll notice that this gun has the standard small grip safety, which Colt has used and even today is still using on some of their guns, and I don't know why, but they continue to. Most of the other manufacturers have come with a beaver tail grip safety, and see how this protects the web of your hand on our great Kimber here when the hammer comes back. And when you'll notice what happens, one, this has, and we know this gun's unloaded, we know it 3 times. When the hammer comes back with this little grip safety, it will pinch the web of your hand. So the folks must not have had very large hands who originally designed this particular deal here. But anyway, it is certainly a well-made and functional gun. Another thing, it has the little bitty issue type sights, and I'm going to get my hand a little low here so it doesn't pinch me. But let's see what kind of accuracy this gun. We have one of the great Wilson combat magazines here that work just fine in it. Also, I'll remind you that many times some of the military guns will not work with other than full metal jacket ammunition. Some of them may have to be throated and polished out some before it'll work with anything but, because that's what they were designed to work with, was full metal jacket ball ammo. Okay, let's do a little shooting with it and just see. We're out here at about 10 yards from the target, and let's see how it does. We have just the regular military full metal jacket ammo. Let's see what it does. Remember, put that sight in the groove there, kind of line them up, put it right underneath your target spot there. Let's see what it does. And has about an 8 or 9 pound trigger, but let's see what happens here. Remember, keep this wrist locked. These autos have to have a locked wrist to work properly. Run one more. Okay, let's go up and take a look at our target. Hey friends, that's not bad accuracy. 5 shots there. Let's see if we can clear it up just a little bit. Not too bad. Certainly about looks like about a 3-inch group or so there at 10 yards, which is certainly a service grade accuracy for most of these guns. Now friends, I tell you what, this Argentine Colt looks to be nicely made. A number of these guns are out there at some pretty good prices. Certainly they have been. And some folks use them as the basis of a custom gun, but we can't recommend these for our 460 cartridge because we don't know what the heat treat characteristics were on these guns. Remember, it says here on the side 1927, and we flatly don't know what the heat treat characteristics were. But as far as in the basic 45, they're probably fine. You'll just have to try the gun with different magazines, with different ammunition, and see how it functions. But certainly they're a good value for the money. The first thing I would do would be put a different grip safety. Yeah, it bit me here a little bit. Put a different grip safety on it, and better sights, and a ringed hammer, something wouldn't come back and pop me on the web of my hand there. But certainly looks to be a nice and serviceable gun for what it is, for exactly what it is. And you know, a lot of folks have bought some surplus guns and things, and tell you what, you get a surplus Garand, M1 Garand made by the U.S. manufacturers, you've got a great gun. And some of the other surplus things out there are real good, but surplus guns coming from foreign countries, even when made under license to an American manufacturer, you're not exactly sure what you got. And there are some gunsmiths around the country that could check out the gun for you, the heat treat, and if there's any doubt at all about the quality or what the gun's been through, please take it to a gunsmith or some local authority there that knows quite a bit about guns, and get their opinion on it, because you know, a bargain is only a bargain if it works. And in this case, this Argentine Colt seems to be a very nice old gun, and it's been refinished and looks very nice and seems to function okay. But again, that old saying, you get what you pay for. There's some stuff that you get more for the dollar than others, but on these older and guns that are coming back in the country surplus, the ones that, and I don't know how long we're going to be able to get surplus guns back in the United States. Clinton may stop all this, but certainly they're worth taking a look at, and great guns to enjoy having. Don't know without, I certainly would not use it as a first line self-defense gun until I had it checked out by a competent gunsmith. If he gave me the go ahead, then I'd say, well, great. But certainly they are a worthwhile gun to enjoy owning and shooting.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
And we want to mention the good folks at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana, one of the most complete gun shops in the entire United States. They do all sorts of things like this specialty meltdown on this new STI gun. Also, they have an excellent staff of people to help you with guns such as these Benelli Super Black Eagles, taking 3.5-inch magnums, a complete line of handguns, semi-automatics, revolvers, all sorts of neat things in the shop there. And of course, here's Mr. Jim Clark himself out helping a customer, some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. They have a complete line of loading supplies, loading tools, gunpowder, you name it, primers, all sorts of accessories for your guns, whatever you might need, certainly within reason. Here's Kay Clark Michalik when she's not winning championships, back working there in the office. And here's her husband, Jerry Michalik, the fastest revolver shooter in the world, when he's not winning championships at work. Here's Jim Clark Jr. back on the lathe, the same drill, when he's not winning championships, working right there in the shop. That's why you can get such complete quality of product and expertise here at Clark Custom Guns. Friends, give them a call today, area 318-949-9884. They have a great catalog. We appreciate them supporting our project. And speaking of Clark Custom Guns, friends, this is Jim Clark Sr. right here, one of the most famous pistol smiths and shooters of all time. Let's do an interview with him. I think you're going to enjoy this. Now, friends, today Mr. Clark has been kind enough to grant us an interview. And of course, we see each other on a fairly regular basis. One, certainly our kits being made here, but a lot of you have heard about Clark Custom Guns. And Mr. Clark, a lot of folks have seen you on our program at different times, but they may not know a whole heck of a lot about you as an individual. Mm-hmm. And you've had Clark Custom Guns now for several years.
Well, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary next year.
Well, 50 years is a long time to be in this business and survive. And the good news is that the Clark reputation continues to grow. They do a wide range of handgun services. Certainly the 22 rifle that we recently had on the program, the Squirrel Special, all those sorts of things. But Miss Clark, just out of curiosity, you're from this area originally, is that right?
No, from Texarkana.
From Texarkana.
But I moved in 1939. And I went to service in World War II, and when I got out, in 1946, I had a pistol I needed fixed. So I went down to little Spring Street gun shop, Lomac Gun Company, called it. That was Horace Logan, who used to be the MC of the Louisiana Hayride.
Oh, that's true. Horace Logan was a pretty famous guy, wasn't he? He really was.
Yeah, and he was a skillful guy. He was a good gunsmith. Mm-hmm. But Horace liked to talk. And he just literally talked himself out of business. But anyway, an old fellow named Rudolph Talley invited me to go out to the pistol range one Wednesday. And I did. I had an old GI 45 and a box of GI ammunition, and I went out and shot pretty good. And that whetted my interest, and I started going back on a regular basis.
Well, now, of course, you left out the part of World War II. Now, you had a service there. You were in the Marine Corps, World War II, and you had quite a bit of experience.
In the Pacific, and I was a sniper, and did a bit of shooting.
Well, that was a very dangerous position you were in, and I'm sure that a lot of people today have seen movies and all on snipers. It's not a very glamorous.
No. Wasn't that either.
Wasn't that either. Well, you became interested in working on guns when?
When I started shooting, I shot my first match with 3-bar guns. In fact, I shot my third match with 3-bar guns also. Anyway, I found out that you couldn't buy a desirable gun on the open market, and so I investigated, went to work, and made them like they should be.
See, and when we're talking desirable gun, you're talking about a gun that would shoot up to what you needed to do.
That's right. Target sights, and the whole thing. Well, what it amounted to, we took a stock car and made it a race car.
Mm-hmm.
That's
essentially
what it amounted to. Yeah.
And of course, later on, you wound up being quite a competitor back in the 50s.
Well, yeah, I set 64 records.
64 records.
I was a civilian champion 6 times, and I was an overall champion once, 1958. And the thing that's unusual about that is it's always been subsidized. It's either police or military. And somebody helped them, but I did it all on my own.
You built your own gun,
Yeah.
financed your own trip,
Yep.
bought your own bullets,
Yep.
and went up there and whipped them. So,
And what was a pleasure, I say I get much pleasure out of it, was at the height of the military program.
mhm.
They both had, oh God, they spent thousands of dollars, you know.
Promoting their teams.
Yeah, see, they had about a 30-man team in the Army and about that in the Air Force. They had the best they had, see.
So again, in fact, the U.S. government and the military couldn't beat a determined individual with real talent.
Well, and I was lucky. The wind blew like only at Camp Perry, like nobody else. You know, it blows the gun boxes off the stand. It just terrible. Well, in 1958, it blew. Well, I won it with a 25.98, and it's always won with a high 2600 there. 40, 50 points above that. But in the wind, it's a whole different story. Whole different story.
Well, of course, you have your kids coming along. You encourage, of course, Kay is the still current world IPSC champion, IPSC women's champion. Your son Jim Jr. is a 3-gun champion many times, and of course your son-in-law Jerry Michalik is. I believe Jerry probably is probably the best revolver shooter in the world, probably.
Without a doubt.
Without speed and accuracy, just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by people.
If you need a little convincing of that, you ought to see the tape of when he beat the little Filipino out in the speed match.
Oh, Jethro Dionisio, yeah. And Jerry, as I understand, was just very relaxed, and Jethro was old, but just, you know.
It's quite a show.
Well, and certainly the people here, you have people in your shop that have been with you. Some of them have been with you for a number of years, haven't they?
Yeah, I got one been with me 42 years.
My goodness. So we're talking about they have real craftsmen.
Yeah.
That's what's important to you.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Clark, you actually, of course, a lot of folks know about your compensated one on our 460, and we ought to say that now. You like our 460 cartridge, don't you?
Yes, very much.
Well, of course, Clark Custom Guns is making the great kits for us, and you actually put the first compensator, to my knowledge, on a 45. Is that right?
Yeah, I made what they call. I had a fellow in Michigan that shoots the pin match every year, the Second Chance, and he called me and asked me to make a 45 that shoot maximum blows with minimum recoil, and I made him I put in reverse an old theory that I learned way back there. Made the barrel heavier, and that slowed the timing down. See? And at first it was just a sleeve, it wasn't a compensator, and then it evolved into a compensator.
And of course, none of us knew how good that compensator or how well it would work until we gave it some real pressure. But just a few things, Mr. Clark, certainly. You know, friends, the first time I met Mr. Clark, probably back in the 70s, I remember going to their shop, and I had read articles about him for years, and I will comment on how, certainly how kindly he treated. Yours truly was a neophyte shooter, but certainly a beginner, and he was very kind. In fact, you probably don't remember that, but you gave me one of your 45 target guns and let me go out back and shoot it, and that just astounded me. It just really impressed a much younger shooter at the time, and that's how they built their business, has been on courtesy and honesty and being fair. But some of the people you've known, you were a great friend. Bill Jordan was a good friend of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah, sure.
Anything that in particular you remember about Bill Jordan that might be of interest to him?
Oh, he was one of the kindest men I ever knew.
Amazing.
He was a tough one.
But that's something. He was such one of the best gunfighters that ever lived.
Yeah.
But one of the kindest people.
Well, certainly, we lost him, I guess, about a year and a half ago now, somewhere there, didn't we? And you and he had been great friends for many years, and of course, you've known a lot of the well-known names.
I met him back in 1946 at the old cattle range on 12 Mile Bayou. He came over here with a border patrol team. And then when I got called back to the Marine Corps in 1951, he was out there, got called back too. And he was on the golf team at El Toro Marine Base.
Well,
and I never will forget one time we went down to Calexico to a pistol match, and it was adjacent to the golf course, or the clubhouse. And we, when the match was over, we got and got to drinking, and anyway, the local pro challenged him. So Bill said, anyway, it came up something about this lady over there where he says, and so they got her out there, and she hit a pretty good ball. Now Bill said, now I didn't tell you, I didn't say I could beat ladies, I said I could beat you. And so he told him to be my guest. And so Bill wound up, because he had just enough in him, and he decided he was a par golfer anyway. And he knocked one, it's gone forever, and the pro, there's own drinks from the house. So the pro just walked, but didn't even shoot.
Well, so he was certainly a very humorous person.
Yes,
I knew of that.
Oh yeah,
And
full of it. Yeah, that's a good storyteller.
good storyteller. Well, Mr. Clark, you met Elmer Keith a number of times. You knew him, and a lot of the people that so many of us have admired over the years, and certainly I'm sure you have many stories to tell. But friends, today we just want to introduce you to Mr. Clark, let you know a little bit about who he is, and Mr. Clark, we as gun owners are in trouble now, aren't we?
Oh, we sure are. We sure are.
You know, growing up and certainly going through World War II, did you ever believe it could come to this as far as restrictions?
No. See, my introduction to firearms was at high school, ROTC. Yeah. I shot on the team for 3 years. So and now I don't know whether they allow me.
Well, probably not. There was a local school that had pellet guns at least a couple of years ago. Now that's probably gone. But friends, that's why we're here today is to try and reach as many people as we can, and with the message that the gun owners and shooters are the finest people in the United States. And you know what I heard a boy say the other day, Mr. Clark? He said, you can just about tell a politician's character by his stand on guns. If he doesn't like guns, he's no good. And I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Pretty close, anyway.
Pretty darn close.
Yeah.
Well, friends, we want to just do a brief interview with Mr. Clark. I know a lot of you, certainly you've seen him on the program, and certainly they're a great company. We're going to have a real, our convention / get-together / fish fry. Our fun gun weekend is coming up right here at Clark Custom Guns on June 5th and 6th. And if some of you would like to come down, Mr. Clark will be very pleased to visit with you and talk guns and certainly talk about shooting, whatever, because he's going to be here. We're going to have a great time. Please put this on your calendar, June 5th and 6th. That is Saturday and Sunday at Clark Custom Guns in Princeton, Louisiana. Very easy to find. We got people calling now, making reservations at different area hotels, motels. And our past 2 fun gun weekends have been so much fun and just such great fellowship, great camaraderie, and of course great shooting exhibitions. So certainly we'll look for everyone. If you'd like to have the best time you can have shooting, well, please join us here at Clark Custom Guns for our fun gun weekend coming up this June 5th and 6th. That's the first weekend in June. And certainly Mr. Clark has been one of my heroes for many years and continues to be, and just one of the finest people in the industry. And sir, we appreciate you taking time to visit with us today.
Look forward to seeing you.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now let's go back to where we left off on last week's program. I'm going to show you a couple of drills using our GRA action shooting scoring procedure here. And remember, we have major, medium, and minor. Minor starts, of course, we're talking about 30 caliber up, center fire. So anyway, the minor will go up to power factor of weight times velocity of 125. So that'll let people with 380s and guns like that shoot. Medium is 125 up to 199 or so, up to almost just under 200. And then major will be 200 up. So what we're doing here, we're going to have these drawings that we'll be able to send out to you so you can have them if you want to shoot some of our GRA discipline matches. Yes, we are rewarding the bigger and more powerful calibers. Yes, we are, because they are more effective. So if you remember, in the X zone here, they're all 10s on this particular target. All 10s in the X zone. This zone here is for the major caliber, still 10. It's 8 for medium, 6 for minor. Outside in the, what on the NIPSC target be the C zone and the B zone up here, you're looking at, for major, 7 points, medium 5 and 3. Same thing in this area here, the small area. This little target here at the top is a 10 for all calibers. And outside here, we're looking in the D zone and the IPSC target. Here we have 5, 3, and 1. 5 major, 3 medium, and 1. And let's go on and look at the tape we shot on some drills and show you just how this scoring works. Then, I'm going to start, and I'll shoot it with my 460. And let's just see how it goes. Get my hearing protection in. I'm stepping up to the line. I'm going to use this chair back as our line here. And I'm going to load and make ready. All right, the gun is on safe. Now then, I'm not going to draw. We're going to have the muzzle on this chair for simplicity. A lot of you want to do this. This is a simple idea. Takes out the factor of people being nervous, not being familiar with their holster, dropping the gun, whatever else. Just let them put it in their hand. That's okay. If you want to draw your gun, okay, but for a lot of people, this is going to be a winner. Just put the muzzle down here on the chair. Okay, I'll go ahead and punch the timer. Let's see what it looks like. Let me say now, hearing protection, eye protection, super, super important. Let's do it. Punch the timer. Ready? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, unload the gun. Yes, I holstered because but this is a procedure you ought to get used to. I didn't have anybody tell me. Heather was not range officer to me. She was camera personing here. Anyway, unload the gun, hammer down, back in holster. All right, that took 2.18 seconds. Not a bad time. 2.18 seconds, and let's score it now. Here we go. Now then, let's go ahead and score our targets. Now realize we're using this, and yes, we'll have these to send out to you. We'll have this diagram, simple thing that we can send out to you. Okay, we have, since I'm shooting a major caliber, we have an A zone hit here, so this will be 10. Again, we got an A hit here, it'll be another 10. Okay, we got a hit here. I got a little nervous, but I got one A zone. Then we got one out here in the C, so this will be a 7. All right, so on this target I will have, and let's go over here to our board. This will be 10 and 7, 17 on that one. All right, let me grab the calculator. All right, I've got a total of 10, 10, and 17, which will be a total of 10 and 10 is 20, and 17 will be 37. All right, my time, here we go. We got, since I'm shooting major, score of 37 and 2, 18. All right, we're going to divide 37, turn our calculator on here, 37 divided by 2.18 equals. All right, my score here, we'll take this one, we'll put it right here so you can see it, 16.98. 16, that's my score here for that one.
Okay, how'd you get that score? You took the...
I took my points divided by my time.
Okay.
37 divided by 2.18 on the calculator. And it's 16.98 is my score for this particular stage.
Okay.
All right, let's tape up our targets, and just for fun, let's try another type gun. Now that I'm holding the timer, Heather is ready, muzzle down on the chair. She is ready, and we're going to back up a little bit, and we're going to watch her shoot. So, shooter ready.
Ready.
Stand by. Good, good. Okay, show clear, hammer down, show clear, unload. Yes, indeed. Gun is safe. All right, let's take a look at the targets. Heather is very proud, and really a good time. Your time was 584, but let's look at your hits. Let's see. See, you got, well, let's get our target board so we can show.
I'll get it.
All right. Get our, shall we say, scoreboard here. There you go. Notice she's carrying that gun finger off the trigger and carefully holding. All right, so now then, what's your score? You shooting a major caliber, that's a 460 Rowland.
I got a 10. I got a 7.
10 and 7, 17.
17.
All right, on that one. All right, let's come to your next target. Okay, guess what? You got another 10. So you're shooting major. Now, if you'd been shooting a 357 or a 9mm, that would have been an 8. If you'd been shooting a 32 or something, that would have been a 6. But since you're shooting a major caliber, that's 10. Okay, let's go to your next target.
And this?
Another 10. Really good. Good shooting. Absolutely. So you got 10, 10, and 17. That's 37. So you had the same scores that I did, and you hit a good solid hit on the disc. All right, let's do it. Let's score you. Total of 37 points. Okay. Her time was 584. We'll mark this out. I had.
That's only off by 400ths from the bowling. That's only off by 400ths from the bowling pins I shot in the disc earlier.
You're doing really well. You're shooting well today. All right, 584. So what we're going to do? Let me grab the calculator. I just love how organized I can be some days. How organized I can be. Okay, we've got our calculator. Let's divide 37 by 5.84 equals. All right, Heather has a score of 6.3.
Once again, friends, we're out of time. Let's go to our support group. We have Dennis Crocker, firearms trainer in South Carolina. His number is 864-587-8722. Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Their number is area 225-667-9225. Camouflage Technologies, the folks that paint gun stocks. Their number is area 909-674-6488. We have Flying Horse Galleries, great artwork on the web, www.flyinghorse.net. We have Bruce Warren with BC Armory in East Leroy, Michigan. His number is area 616-729-5508. And Cutler Refrigeration, Heating, and Cooling in Tuscumbia, Alabama, area 256-381-1887. I want to remind you, our Fun Gun Weekend coming up June 5 and 6. The program will start around 2 o'clock on that Saturday. We look for everyone there. And remember our radio show on the American Freedom Network on Sundays from noon to 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll see you on the next